Hello everyone, it's Rev Deanna Cox here for your midweek reflection for the fourth week of Lent. It's hard to believe how quick Easter is going to be, and Holy Week as well, how quick Holy Week and Easter are going to be upon us. We've just had daylight savings time change here, so I hope you are all coping well with the time shift and don't have too much exhaustion and brain fog. I'm sitting in my living room basking in the sunlight, just enjoying the extra light today. We are going to do a deep dive into the Gospel of John this week. Some of you may know that our in-person services were canceled last Sunday, and so we're going to keep the story of the Samaritan woman at the well from the Gospel, from John chapter 4, and we're going to add to it the story of Jesus healing the man blind from birth from the 9th chapter of John. And so it's going to be, as I said, a deep dive into the Gospel of John this week. They're fairly long texts, so enjoy and take them in chunks. So combined in these texts, we hear a wisdom about relationships and authority. And what it truly takes to be a good leader. And what we are hearing is that to be a good leader, you need to have deep, abiding love that you share despite any rules or societal expectations that say otherwise. And sharing like that, sharing that deep, abiding love and compassion that Jesus displays in these two chapters and calls us to in so many other instances over and over and over in our texts, not only in John, but sharing that love and compassion when it's least expected can be challenging, because it tends to set us against societal constructs or expectations, and sometimes maybe even against the laws and rules that govern us, both in our faith and in our society. It is important to note anytime you're reading the Gospel of John, but also specifically with these texts, that Jesus was in conflict with the world around him. You see that in the passage of the Samaritan woman at the well. They were from two different cultures and two different ways of being in the world, and they had both been taught that they should not mix. They should not be associating with each other, much less gathering at a well. And if you remember last week, I shared that in biblical times, wells are places of betrothal, where you're most likely to meet your mate, and specifically the well where Jesus meets this woman. And so not only were they of two different groups that should not associate each other, but they're meeting both alone and unaccompanied at this very intimate place known for setting up partnerships. And then Jesus dares to ask her to draw him a drink of water from the well. So that set Jesus in conflict with the world around him. Jesus is also in conflict within his own religious community. We hear in a lot of biblical stories, but in particular in this one, where Jesus healed the man blind from birth, he did that on the Sabbath, and broke his own religious rules to do so. And so this sets Jesus against his own community. And but if you think about it, think about what he did in both instances that set him at odds with the world around him. Was it something criminal? Was it something awful? No, he offered love and compassion and healing where and when it was needed the most. And that is the horrible, awful thing that set him apart from his world and his community. Jesus offered love and compassion where it was needed, regardless of any rules or expectation. Because Jesus, and we get this message in John's Gospel, that Jesus so firmly believed in that everyone was entitled to abundant life, that and everyone should be allowed the opportunity of a deep, abiding relationship with God. Jesus so firmly believed that he shared that regardless of any external construct that said it shouldn't happen at that time or it shouldn't be given to that person. And that got him in trouble on more than one occasion. And so it's that unexpected love and compassion, and they're just so compelling that the woman runs to tell her whole village about what happened, and they all convert based on her word. And the man blind from birth becomes a follower of Jesus because he received so much life, regardless of whether it was the Sabbath or not. How many people walked by and didn't offer life to that person on days when they could have? And Jesus does it on the Sabbath and gets in trouble. This is the kind of compelling love that we need to guide and lead our lives, and that we need to use as the compass when we are in leadership. And we are always in leadership in our world, believe it or not, whether it's formal or just leading by how we are living. So I invite you to reflect on this deep dive into John and these unexpected relationships and this unexpected sharing of love and compassion that these two stories offer us as examples of how we are to be in the world. And not only how we are to be in the world, but of that deep relationship that we are called to have, a relationship so compelling that we share it regardless of where we are. And so our physical communities, where I'm a United Church minister and I serve the physical communities of Daysland, Killam, and Rosalind. And so our physical communities are going through a time of deep discernment where we're trying to reconnect with that compelling love and grace and reconnect with that abiding presence of God. And so if you have any ideas of how we can connect that abiding presence of God with our communities, how we can share, how we can witness that in our world, I invite you to share that with us. You can reach out via email or text message. You can put comments in below this video. Yeah, I encourage us to, because we don't profess to have all the answers, and we're trying to just do what we can in some small way to make a difference in the lives of others, which may end up being a life-giving change to someone. And so if you feel compelled and want to get involved, you can let us know that too. And as always, if these midweek reflections are proving valuable to you, I encourage you to give as you are able to support our ministries in this world. So that is your possibly somewhat discombobulated daylight saving time brain fog reflection for this week on God's deep abiding love and grace or compassion for us, and how we are invited, how the Gospel of John is inviting us over and over to partake in that relationship in our own lives and to become witnesses to God's amazing love in the world. So the challenge for you is to think of a time when you experienced something so compelling that you had to share it. And then to think of how we can do that with God's love in the world. So friends, that is the midweek reflection for this week. It's great to see some of you joining in. I know you're out there. Take care, and God bless you, and have a wonderful Wednesday. Enjoy the sunshine if there is sunshine where you are. If not, make a little of your own. Bye, everyone.